friend of mine was worried about my coffee drinking habits, and he told me that if you drink over 4 cups of coffee a day, your health is at risk. Now, this is obviously just for an example, but I want to introduce you guys to the if function. And basically, what the if function does is it checks certain conditions and gives you an output if those conditions are true or if those conditions are false. It's going to give you two different outputs in the case of true and in the case of false. So basically, what I wanted to do today is I wrote down the amount of cups of coffee that I drink on a daily basis. Of course, these are not real numbers again. And I want to check if these fall below 4, because then I'm being healthy. If the amount is equal or below 4, then I'm being healthy. And if they're over 4, then I'm not being healthy. And I want Excel to tell me if I was healthy that day, yes or no. Now we're gonna let Excel tell us this by using the function called if. And the if function is very useful for letting Excel check certain conditions within certain cells. To give an example of what it does, let's first look at what it wants from us. It wants us to give it a logical test, something the function can check, that Excel can check for you. Then it wants us to give it a value it will give us back if that condition is true, and we will give it a value if the condition is false. So to give an example, 3 equals 4, which is obviously not true. And if this condition is true, I want it to tell me this is true. And if that condition is false, I want it to tell me this condition is false. Obviously, 3 is not equal to 4, so it's going to return false to me. Now, to apply this to my problem, what I wanted to do is I want to check if this number is less or equal to this number. Now, this can be quite tricky. So let's first set it up for less than. So B3 is less than B4. That's what I wanted to check. But I wanted to check two things. And the way we would do this is to implement a OR function within the if function. So let's type OR, press tab. And now we see this OR thing pop up. And what OR does is it allows you to add multiple logical tests within the if function. So this is logical check 1. Then I do comma. And it's going to ask me for logical test 2. And I wanted to check if this number, B3, is equal to H1, because then we're still healthy. And those are all the conditions I wanted to check. So I close that function. And we're back into our logical test. Now basically what it's going to do is going to check if this B3 is less than H1, I will give it true. Or if B3 equals H1, I'm going to tell them, give me the value back true. And if both these conditions are not true, I will give it back false value if false. So it's gonna obviously tell me false because B3 is not less than H1 and is not equal to H1. So it would tell me false. Now to apply this to the rest of my data set, I want to lock H1 in place because I want to keep using H1. And the way to do that is to click on H1, press F4, and it will put the dollar signs around it. Basically what this tells Excel is wherever this function might move, always refer to this cell. So now, oops, didn't mean to do that. If I drag this down and we look at this, it's gonna change my B to every time I drag it down to 1 down, but it's gonna keep referring to this H1. So now as you can see, it gave me for every value, for every test, it gave me that value. So on day 5, I was being unhealthy. But on day 4, I was being healthy. Hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Any feedback is highly appreciated. Thanks.